Some people believe everything is random, that coincidence is just a fluke of life. But what if I told you that nothing, absolutely nothing, happens by chance? That this message, right now, has been placed in your path as a direct sign from your soul? And no, this isn't a coincidence. Because when the soul decides to speak, it does so with power, with intensity, and with synchronicities you simply can't ignore. Seeing repeating numbers, dreaming of something that shows up the next day, feeling like the universe is trying to tell you something. These are all codes. Codes most people dismiss out of fear, haste, or just habit. But you didn't end up here by mistake. And if you're feeling like something inside you wants to change, like there's a voice asking to be heard, then it's already begun. Yes, your soul is awakening. And today, you're going to discover what that really means and why it could change everything. Some people will swear up and down that it was just a coincidence to see the same number 5 times in one day. But was it, really? When you start noticing repeating patterns, numbers, songs, phrases showing up in unlikely ways, it's not just chance playing games with you. It's your soul trying to get your attention the only way it can, through reality itself. The soul doesn't manifest with flashing signs, it shows up through synchronicities. And if you're not present enough, you'll just call it luck, or bad luck. Carl Jung, yes, the psychoanalyst who dared to bring spirituality to the table of science, once said that meaningful coincidences are windows through which the unconscious communicates with the outside world. He called it synchronicity. So, when you think about someone and they text you minutes later, that's not coincidence. That's the soul and the universe weaving something together to show you that something bigger is in motion. And if you ignore that whisper, you might end up deaf to everything your essence is trying to say. Want to see this in action? Start jotting down every weird moment in your phone, like dreaming about something and seeing it unfold the next day. Or hearing 3 different people mention the same issue you've been needing to deal with. Those are the codes. Soul manifestation isn't some Hollywood event with cosmic lightning bolts. It's a subtle game of symbols, and when you start to see it with awakened eyes, a whole new dimension of life opens up before you. But is that really all that's happening right now? There are moments in life when everything suddenly feels more intense, emotions running high, thoughts that won't go away, and a strange sense that something's about to happen. That's not random. When your soul senses that you've reached a certain level of spiritual readiness, even if you still doubt it, it begins to manifest. What once was just background noise becomes a clear and undeniable calling. And that calling often shows up through coincidences that defy logic. Have you ever stopped to wonder why these signs are showing up now and not months ago? It's because there's a precise timing, a specific frequency where your soul and the universe align. And when that happens, everything around you starts to respond. People reappear, unexpected opportunities show up, and even old problems resurface, not to break you, but to show you what needs healing before your next leap. Carl Jung once said that nothing emerging from the unconscious is irrelevant. Everything carries a hidden purpose. This is often the moment when people go into crisis, and that's a good thing. Because it's only when something cracks open inside that space is made for conscious rebuilding. Maybe that's why your soul chose this exact moment to manifest, because you, even without realizing it, are already at a turning point. And now the signs are growing stronger. The synchronicities are multiplying, and everything around you is gently pushing you inward. But how can you tell if these signs are truly coming from your soul or just your imagination? You might be going through this right now without even realizing it. You glance at the clock and it reads 11:11, then later 22:22, and you start wondering if you're going a little crazy. But hold on, this isn't madness. It's actually one of the most common ways the soul manifests, through repeating numbers. They're not random, mystical codes. They're symbolic triggers the universe uses to activate your awareness. Each number carries a vibrational meaning that speaks directly to deep aspects of your spiritual journey. Another powerful sign is vivid, almost cinematic dreams that leave you with the feeling, that meant something. When the soul is active, it uses dreams as a symbolic stage, a space where the rational mind doesn't interfere as much. You should also pay attention to déjà vus and gut feelings. That strange sense of having lived something before, or just knowing something is about to happen, even when there's no logical reason for it. These are ways your soul prepares you for important choices, or warns you about energetic paths that need attention. And don't underestimate those out-of-nowhere encounters. That person you hadn't seen in years who suddenly shows up just as you were thinking about them. Or someone saying exactly what you needed to hear at the perfect moment. That's more than synchronicity. That's spiritual architecture unfolding in real time. Write these coincidences down, notice the patterns, and if you can, start a soul journal to track the most meaningful signs. Because the more aware you become, the more these signs intensify. And before you know it, they turn into guides for decisions that go far beyond logic. Ignoring the signs from your soul isn't like skipping a phone notification. It's more like silencing a siren that was warning you about an inner fire. And the most dangerous part is that at first, everything seems normal. Life goes on, routines continue. But inside, something begins to decay. You feel constant fatigue, a sense of not belonging, a hollowness that nothing seems to fill. That's your soul trying to scream where it once only whispered. And the more you pretend you didn't hear it, the louder it tries to be heard. Have you noticed how life sometimes forces you to stop? An illness, getting fired, an unexpected crisis. These are existential breaks that show up when you've ignored your soul's voice for too long. The universe doesn't waste time on distractions. It pushes you to pay attention. Carl Jung said that what is not brought to consciousness returns as fate. In other words, the signs you ignore will come back disguised as suffering until you finally learn the lesson you've been avoiding. It's not punishment. It's alignment. The soul becomes urgent when it senses you're drifting too far from who you came here to be. That's why repetitive cycles, toxic relationships, constant frustrations, that feeling of being stuck, are just reflections of what's being ignored within. It's like walking in circles inside a maze, refusing to look at the map in your hands, and all the while the signs keep showing up. But the real question is, will you still recognize them before they turn into screams? When the soul speaks and you actually listen, the world around you begins to respond in the most magical ways. Doubts give way to clarity, paths open with more ease, and even problems start to feel different because now you understand they're just part of a greater process. Listening to the soul's manifestation is like trading the GPS of the rational mind for an inner compass that knows the destination, even when the map still looks blank. And you know what's curious? The journey begins with simple steps, like taking 5 minutes a day to sit in silence. Following your soul doesn't mean dropping everything and running off to the Himalayas, although, let's be honest, who hasn't thought about it? It starts with small, conscious choices, paying attention to what brings you peace, what energizes you, the conversations that uplift you. Maybe it's choosing a book that stirs your spirit, like The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, or listening to a guided meditation before bed. Maybe it's starting to journal your signs, creating a symbolic altar at home, or even speaking out loud to your intuition. Yes, talking to your soul as if it were an old friend, and then something shifts. For real, synchronicities increase, coincidences start fitting together like pieces of a cosmic puzzle, and life begins to make sense again. It's as if the universe is saying, finally, you heard me. And once that happens, there's no turning back. Because now you know you're no longer lost and never really were. But here's the question. Once you've truly heard your soul, can you ever ignore it again? So tell me, how many signs does life need to send you before you finally stop and listen to your soul? How many times are you going to call coincidence what is clearly a calling? Deep down, you already know what's happening. You've felt it in your body, in your thoughts, in the strange coincidences that keep following you. The question now isn't if your soul is manifesting, but what you're going to do about it. Will you ignore it again like nothing ever happened? Or will you take charge of your own spiritual journey? What choice do you want to make from here on out? To live on autopilot, or to awaken with clarity? Are you going to keep pretending you didn't see the signs, or follow this invisible compass your soul is pointing toward? Tell me in the comments if you've ever experienced a powerful synchronicity, something that made you stop and think, this can't just be a coincidence. I want to hear your story. And if this video helped you open your eyes, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and join us on this journey. Here, you'll learn to live with soul, with purpose, and with presence.